Good morning. The cooler weather is here, so it's time to make a frittata. And I had some leftover snapper. I bought a snapper that was almost 4 pounds at the H Mart on Sunday and roasted it in the oven. There's some leftovers. I added a can of albacore tuna in water that I drained, and now I have these cooked shrimp from ShopRite that I'm taking the ends off them, the tails, I guess they call them. So I'm going to be combining the seafood with egg whites and organic diced tomatoes, and adding them to a greased 10-inch pan. Actually, it has olive oil in it. I'm heating it up. So I'm adding egg whites. This is one of these takeout containers for soft tofu stew from the Korean restaurant. So we need about 4 cups of ingredients for the 10-inch frying pan. And the second one defrosting, so I'll fill it right up. So here's the preheated 10-inch pan. We'll be distributing the seafood. I'll add some chopped herbs. I chopped up some herbs that I roasted with the fish. I placed them in the cavity of the fish. There was some organic parsley, and then I still have a little thyme and oregano out in the garden. The shrimp, the snapper, and the albacore fills this up nicely. So I drained the can of organic diced tomatoes. This has plenty of liquid in it already. And now the crust is going to be setting on the stove here. I'm going to turn up the heat a little bit to medium-high. This is a no-flip frittata. This is one of the easiest frittatas you can possibly make. Don't have to bother putting a plate on top and trying to turn it over. That's crazy. So you just move it from the top of the stove into the oven under the broiler. I have a high and low setting on my broiler, and I'll be using a high setting. And then after about 10 or 20 minutes in the oven, we're going to add Parmesan cheese on top, so it'll have a nice crust of Parmesan and some crushed red pepper. Put some dried Italian herbs on top and some red pepper flakes. Here's organic, no salt seasoning. This is one of the things we always have in our spice closet, seasoning closet. Organic, no salt seasoning from Costco. Incredible stuff. Okay, so the sides have firmed up, as you can see, and so I'm going to be moving this into the oven under the broiler, again on a high setting. It'll probably puff up a little bit. I'll add the Parmesan and we finish the cooking. Just a reminder, when you move it from the stove, the handle will be cool enough, you can handle it. But remember that when it spends 10, 20, 30 minutes in the broiler, this handle is going to get very hot. Make sure you use something to grab it. Here's the frittata out of the broiler. Set the time of 15 minutes. It's puffing up. You can see how this puffed up beautifully after about 12, 13 minutes under the high broiler. And we're just going to add some Parmesan, grated Parmesan cheese. And it gets nice and golden. Take your time with this recipe to save time tomorrow and the next day when you have leftovers. If it's time for breakfast, you just pop one of these wedge of this frittata with some starch, like this gluten-free pasta that I made the other day, and you're good to go. A little crushed red pepper doesn't hurt. So I took it out of the oven after about 6 minutes. You can see it's cooked inside. I added some more red pepper. The original red pepper sort of blackened. So here's a seafood frittata. a no-flip seafood frittata. Great for breakfast, and then the leftovers get you out the door in just a few minutes. Enjoy. By the way, a variation on this is to add organic salsa instead of the diced tomatoes. You want to give it a south of the border flavor. It's very moist inside too.